In episode 5, I made a case that every generation before us passed something forward that was not money, a way of seeing the world, a framework for meeting hard times, a set of values you absorb at a kitchen table before you were even old enough to know you're absorbing them. That inheritance, argued, is the most durable form of wealth. There is more durable than money, more durable than poverty, because it survives every crisis that takes the rest away. Foster care is what happens when that inheritance is deliberately interrupted. There is no family passing values forward at a table. There's no generational wisdom waiting at home. For a lot of these children, the system itself becomes the only thing standing in the gap where that inheritance should have been. They are the test case for the entire argument. If agency is real, if a person can still build something meaningful even when the conditions are stacked against them, then it has to be real here, under the worst conditions this show can describe, or it isn't real anywhere. And that data on what happens when the gap goes unfilled is brutal. In US, which tracks this better than we do, somewhere between roughly a fifth and a third of young people aging out of foster care experience homelessness during the transition to adulthood, against a lifetime rate of about 4% in general population. Over 40% are incarcerated by age 20. Only about half are employed by the age 24. And somewhere around 8 to 12% earn a college degree, against roughly half of the general population. Now imagine that. Every one of these numbers is a kid who hit 18, sometimes 19, in a place with extended care and walked out the door of the only family structure they had ever known into nothing. But here's the entire reason I brought this episode back to episode 5. Some of these kids build extraordinary lives anyway. Simon Biles did it. Plenty of kids who came through our own front door, kids I'm never going to name or detail on a podcast, went on to build real lives. Not because the odds were good. The odds were terrible. They built anyway because somewhere along the line, somebody refused to let them become a statistic without a fight. That is the agency in its rawest possible form. Not a motivational poster about a great people, man. Actual human beings choosing to keep building a life under the worst conditions this episode can name. And think back to where we opened this whole hour, that a few dollars a day stipend. There's honesty in that number that I keep coming back to, because it strips away every excuse and every cynical theory about why a person would do this. Nobody is doing foster care or kinship care or respite care for the payout. If you are, you're a scumbag. I'm telling you right now. If you're doing this, you're the biggest scumbag there is. They're doing it because somewhere along the line, they decided that a child who did not choose any of this deserved one adult who would choose them back with nothing in it for themselves except the outcome. That is not charity in the soft, performative sense people usually mean by the word. That is the hardest, least glamorous version of showing up that exists. And it happens quietly in thousands of houses across this country every single night, with almost nobody watching and almost nobody keeping score.